the Fat TV world. So if you notice, I'm kind of missing my partner in crime today, KT. She could not be here with us for this, but she is cheering us on and rooting for us. I want to introduce my co-host of the day.
Hello, hello. Glad to be here.
Matthew Sidney Long, a.k.a.
Matt.
Matt. He's our co-producer, co-director of She's Too Fat. And then our special VIP guest of the day, Miss Debba Rofhart. We are so pleased to have you here.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you for saying yes to be here.
Exactly.
For episode 1, which is premiering tomorrow, we were like, Debba, please say yes, because she's literally our only actress in it.
Well, you're in it.
True, but yeah. Anyway, we are very happy to have you here. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, let's see. What can I tell you about myself? Well, I'm originally from New York, which you will see when you see me doing my Agent Linda trip, which is very New Yorky. And then I was a theater major in college, but I didn't pursue it. I didn't have the courage, and I wasn't very good when I was a kid. So I put the corporate yoke on, and I stayed in the offices for many decades, and then that ended about 5 years ago. And I thought to myself, how will I keep myself entertained for the remaining years on the planet? And I remembered that when I was in college, they always used to give me the old lady roles. And I said, well, shoot, I'm a legitimate old lady now. Let's go see what I can do.
No, you
That
only
is an
5
awesome
years.
story.
Only 5 years ago.
I would have thought
Yeah.
it was, I would have thought
Yeah.
you were trained from a long time ago.
From when you were a baby. I just thought you were just such a, you've been like, you were naturally an amazing actress. So I thought this was just, it's in her blood. Some people are just like that. That's such a cool story.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, we are so glad that you're in the acting world because we need you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So tell us, Miss Debba, like, thinking back to a year ago, it was a little over a year ago when we did the casting, your experience of you saw it on Actors Access, and what did you think? Our show, She's Too Fat.
Oh, I said, I can't. It was like, I can't be involved with this fast enough. So I threw my hat in the ring and, burned incense to the fat gods and just hoped for the very best.
I remember the message she wrote. She, what did you say? I feel like you said, gosh darn it, people, I'm fat. What did you say?
Was it a Stuart Small?
But it was in caps.
Yes.
It was in caps, and I was like, this lady's yelling at me. I better pay attention. No.
What I remember was what an amazing audition it was, because we had so many people for all the roles that sent their audition tapes in, and Debba's kept on. Well, it was at the top from the beginning, and then we'd see somebody else, and we all would vote, and KT and you and me, all three of us cast our votes, but it was Debba.
Yes, it was Debba. We needed, she's already just a naturally talented actress, and we just loved her look, and then it just was such a perfect fit. But I think also it was important for us in casting, we needed a leading lady who could hold her own on screen by herself, because we're not technically together.
No, we never actually talked to each other.
We didn't.
For real, yeah.
Yeah, we did it. So this episode, Debba and I, we are talking to each other dialogue-wise, but we are not actually in the same room.
No.
So I needed someone who could hold her own, especially with my crazy personality. And Debba was the one. Yes.
And
so,
I even think Debba might have a little more screen time, possibly, or definitely more dialogue.
Oh, she should.
So,
yeah.
No, but so really, Debba, you kick off our show.
Yes, you do.
And
no pressure. No pressure at all if this tanks or not. I don't know. No.
Yeah, and the pilot episode, you do have to establish some of the rules of the show and the main conflict. So there is a little exposition that we have to get through, but you two knock it out of the park.
So thank you. So Debba, as your last 5 years, just auditions, have you met an agent like that, or like with your role, or did you have any type of inspiration?
No, I don't know. It's kind of, I work in a weird way when I don't really have a process. I was telling Matt that last night. It's just, I just keep reading the script over and over, and it's somehow, I pull the words through me, and they just kind of start working on me and turn me into I don't know, Asian Linda.
Who you are.
like
Yeah.
Who I are, yeah.
Yeah, who I are. I love it. So we have noticed, because we've had a couple of other actresses on in the past, and we always ask them just out of curiosity, and we've been very, like, all the answers are different. There's no wrong or right. But
Okay.
Okay, so have you, as a woman, have you experienced any type of, like, discrimination? Have you felt that you've been objectified? Have you felt the male gaze especially out here in the last 5 years with auditioning? Like, do you feel like you're being picked apart and not treated as a human?
Well, my auditioning out here is very different from the kind of stuff that you're going after, because I go after mostly stage stuff, and the people the response to me is very different now as an older woman. It's even more my age than my size at this point. So the way people react to me is very different than 20. Well, I wish it was 20 years ago, but actually 40 years ago when I was in college. And a pretty young thing, they treated me very differently than they treat me now. So I think it's more of an age thing, and I haven't run into the kind of nonsense that was depicted in the show because I'm a little too old for that. They wouldn't dare.
Interesting. Yeah, and even with you saying that, that's something that I think we will see in our lifetime, for you to say you're a little too old for that. Because, like, I feel ageism is such a real thing that we've got. It's another barrier we have to break down. And I want to see leading ladies who I want to be inspired by, who are older than me, who are doing, like, the adventure, or they're the star of the, like Jamie Lee Curtis recently, like, she was the lead.
Oh, in Halloween.
In Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, I was more empowered by seeing her than if they had cast, like, a 20-something-year-old.
Right.
You know what I mean? And, like, older women are inspiring. Let's put them out more instead of just, like, the stereotype of, like, the old lady.
Well,
you know what
that's
I
it.
mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
such a stereotype. Because, like, well, first of all, old's not bad. Like,
No,
Right.
it's not. We got to quit thinking that that's bad. Like, it's weird that, like, people yesterday, it was my birthday, and people were, some people were like, is it okay if I ask your age? It's like, yeah, of course it's okay to ask my, like, I'm not ashamed of it.
Right.
Like, we should be proud of our age and, like, embrace the lines and like, we earn these.
I know.
You
Every-
know, and
every gray hair.
oh yeah, right. And I mean, I tell my nieces, like, because they're like preteen teenagers, and you know, the stretch marks are happening, right? But I'm like, you earned your tiger stripes. Yeah, like, we gotta just change how we see these things, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So but I think that like, Handmaid's Tale, for example, my favorite character is Aunt Lydia. Like, have you watched it?
I've seen the first first season.
Got it. Okay, well, you know
That
Aunt
was the
Lydia.
best.
Oh yes, absolutely.
She's great. Like, she's 65. I feel like she's in her early 60s,
Something
maybe.
like that.
Yeah, she steals the show for me.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, I would love a role like that. Yeah, and they it's a more meaty, juicy role that she can bite her teeth into, as opposed to just like a background or someone who's just going, yes, dear, or, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, so many layers. So I'm hoping that's another barrier. I mean, I volunteer to break that barrier if anybody else will. So
Well,
yeah.
Keep writing your own stuff. We definitely get you on that way. I would say ageism, along with fat shaming, and then also special needs, because this has been a journey for me to learn a lot of this. But those three, there's so many other isms, but I feel
And
like
racism, obviously.
well, no,
yeah.
all those, but I'm saying
yeah.
those three are often overlooked, or we still, even the people who are woke, if you will, on other isms, on those three, especially ageism, it's one that I'll catch myself or other people, where that one is it's deep.
And you can still make fat jokes and get away with it.
Yes.
That was my
It's
point.
like
yeah.
the last bastion
Right.
of something that you can make a joke about, because you can't make jokes about any other ism, but you can still make a fat joke.
Yeah.
So
No, that's
I've
very
like
true.
I've considered doing but of course there's too many things I do. But I've been like, you know what, every time I consume any type of film and TV, as soon as I hear like the fat joke or the degrading line about fat people, I've been wanting to like film it and then maybe like put it out on social media and be like, anybody catch that? Like, why don't we discuss this? Why was this necessary? Did it push the story forward? You know? But it's when I got the idea to do that, I actually started noticing it even more. Like, you can't not hear it once you're aware of it. You know?
Right.
So, and it's subconscious to a lot of people, because a lot of people don't think about it, but they are subconsciously consuming the fat phobic lines and dialogue and character tropes, and then they don't realize it themselves, but they're fat phobic. You know
it's
what I mean?
hardwired into
Yeah.
into us and into our systems.
It really is.
Because it's been tolerated for so very long, and it's going to take. I mean, we're starting to chip away at it.
Right.
But it's going to take time.
It is.
It isn't a thing that's going to happen overnight.
Not at all, not at all. So how do you feel about the body positivity movement? Is that what do you think? Like a lot, we have all mixed feelings about it. But what do you think about it? What you're following?
I think it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that it's being co-opted by people who want to show off their abs and all that other BS, and that's fine. You go ahead and work, girl. Whatever makes you happy, But it still leaves the door open for size positivity too. So I guess you could create another sub instead of just being body positivity. It could be size positivity, and maybe that makes it more specific to what we're talking about.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's the only thing I can think of. But I think anything that makes somebody feel okay in their own skin is a good thing.
Yeah.
Even if Miss whatever is showing off her abs.
Yeah.
It's still, that's great. But you should be able to feel good about this is where you live. There is nowhere else to go.
Right.
You ought to like where you live.
Right. Absolutely.
You shouldn't have to always apologize for it, or that's the main thing on your mind when you go somewhere. Is like, because I know you always talk about getting ready, to when we're going out to a premiere or even dinner or something, like how much more a woman still in our day and age takes time to present themselves. So even when you're not doing that, because you're like saying, hey, I'm not going to do this.
Right.
And that's very clearly unfair right there,
right.
too. So.
Well, right. Like, so I still have the conditioning. Like, when you arrived at the party yesterday, I was still in my sweats, right?
Yes.
Would have liked to stay in my sweats the entire night. But something in me felt like, oh, I need to wear the dress, and I need to make sure you know what I mean? And but I really wanted to wear those sweats. So, but I'm breaking it down in my own way. I don't wear high heels anymore. Those are just, forget about it. Do you remember when, was it Sundance or was it the film festival, the lady was not allowed into the screening, and she was an older woman, and she wasn't allowed in the screening because she didn't wear high heels.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you remember that? That happened a couple of years ago.
I just would like to hurt them. Right
Yeah,
now.
it was one of the bigger film festivals.
Wow.
And I don't know if she was going on a step or repeat, but she was trying to head into a screening,
and
an actual
no.
screening, and they were like, "Oh, you're not up to par with the dress code," and she's not wearing heels, and she's older. Like I hate wearing heels at any age. I've always hated it, and it's like they didn't allow her in, and that is awful.
Yeah, that is awful.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what I don't wear heels anymore because I broke my ankle several years ago. There is no way I'm going to put myself in that precarious position ever again.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't get to go in to see a movie. Excuse me, that's not going to work.
I mean, these are things guys don't have to think about. Like, we actually have to think about these things. Like, I have heels, but I could fall and kill myself in them. It's actually a problem. And I don't know how, do you remember Jurassic World when that came out? They had Bryce Dallas Howard's character
she was running
in high heels. I was so upset for her. Because I think they were making this point of look, you can be a badass and wear high heels and run and, get chased by dinosaurs. But I'm like, but she doesn't have to.
No, it's like the thing with Ginger Rogers. She did everything Fred Astaire did, except in high heels and backwards.
You're right.
It's like,
that's still
right.
We always have to be 18 times better.
It's so true because we're still talking more about Fred Astaire. I mean, we know Ginger Rogers, but we know her as Fred Astaire's partner.
Right.
And then we also know Fred Astaire as Fred Astaire separately from anything. You know what I mean? That reminds me of Fosse Verdon, by the way. Did you see Fosse Verdon?
I haven't. That was on my to-do list. I want to see
Oh
it.
my gosh, you're going to love it. Especially our theater backgrounds.
Okay.
You are going to love it. It's just, and just everything we've ever heard about both of them. But that's another one. Fosse got a lot of credit. And Verdon had her own thing going on, but a lot or was attached to him.
Well, and she was sometimes cleaning up some of his messes, and she probably gets 50% or more on most of the creations, I think.
Totally.
Like if you look at Cabaret, and which was, I guess, his biggest thing. She had a huge artistic role in that. Yeah, it's good.
So let's go back to She's Too Fat.
Well, yeah, I have a question now.
Yeah, what's up?
About Uncastable. Uncastable is the name of our pilot, which Debba stars in. But had you ever had to do a scene inside of a car? Because basically you're in the car.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
The whole time, right?
Yes, I was in the car the whole time. I have. Oh gosh, that's really funny. This is 35 years ago. a guy, I was working in an office, and they knew that I was a theater major, and he was going to film school or something, and he asked me to be in his little short that he had to make, and I had to drive his car, but it was a stick shift, and I didn't know how to drive a stick at the time.
Whoa.
So I just had to drive it around the corner, but I was horrified, you know, I just didn't know I don't know what it is, you know, I don't know how to do it.
How
then
did
you're
you
having-
even get around a block?
I don't know.
And how did you act?
I remember doing this a lot.
Right.
Well, there wasn't a lot of acting, or if there was, I don't even remember anymore.
Wow.
So it's been, 30 years between car scenes.
Wow.
But even with this one, I'm driving KT's brand new car.
Yeah,
so-
that really nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But what
don't-
about I feel like did we give you at least a little bit of notice about driving?
Oh, yeah,
I hope we did.
I think so.
We're like, can you drive a car? Because yeah.
Well, we actually didn't have. It didn't start out, and you might have even seen an earlier script where we didn't have you in the car. So I don't.
Oh,
to be
yeah,
honest,
that's right.
We had it
That's right.
set in a office.
An office. We did.
And props to David Navarro, our DP.
Yeah.
He was one of the main ones who suggested let's make this more active.
He did.
And
That's right. So the original scene was us in the office.
Right, I
And
think
then-
that's what I saw.
Yeah, and we had
So
a
we did
production
spring it
meeting,
on you a
and
little bit.
David Navarro is the one. He said, it's a good scene, but how about not? He said there's not going to be a lot of movement camera wise or whatever. And he said, how about we transition this into make it mobile?
Right.
And we were like, and then that's where we were like, well, this is filming the day after everybody's seeing it, right? This is a spoiler alert.
It is. It's the day after.
Okay, spoiler alert. So if you haven't watched Uncastable, stop right now and go watch Uncastable because I'm about to spoil something. But that's when we then also got the idea that she should be an Uber driver or a Lyft or some sort of Lyft driver, our own version, of course, because of copyright. But yeah, but we were like, oh my God, because in LA, how many jobs do each of us have, right? The hustle is real. So you could be an agent, but you could also be Lyft driver, by day, and at night you're also working in a restaurant, just so many things.
That's
yeah.
true.
So
That is true.
I'm sure you were like, wow, I'm juggling a lot of things here. Yeah. But she handled it like a pro. She totally
you.
did.
It was very fun, actually. I just kept driving around and around,
I know. That was so
trying
great.
not to hit anybody and keeping Katie's car safe.
Yeah, I know. We wanted to make sure, and it was warm. It was
really warm.
It was fortunately it wasn't horribly warm, but it was hot. I remember, and of course we had to turn the AC off.
That's right, because you
But,
can't make noise.
But we got what we needed. So
Yeah, we did. I mean, everybody's gonna love this episode. I mean, it is so wonderful, and it is because of you.
Aw,
So,
shucks.
yeah, seriously, we are so grateful for you, and we also look forward to the surprises for season 2.
Yeah.
We'll get on board soon with
well,
that.
she's the only
Yeah.
one who said yes to Delaney. So obviously season 2.
I know you're the
because
only agent that would take her.
So this
Yeah,
is
I-
giving me
Another spoiler.
longevity, and
Yeah.
she's too fat, man. I get to be in all the seasons because I'm the only agent that said yes.
You did.
Yes,
Even though you
exactly.
still kind of give her a bit of a hard time, but you did say yes. So
Exactly.
that was something.
So Debba, for the future, what kind of roles do you have? Dream roles, or do you have what kind of goals in the actor world?
Okay, so my big fantasy, which I may or may not actually do because it's going to be one of those things I'll have to take it into my own hands. I've wanted to play Juliet my whole life, and now of course I'm much too old, but I'm going to start my own theater company called Old Fat Shakespeare, and I'm going to play Juliet.
That's amazing.
I love that.
Everybody can go to hell who doesn't like it.
I hope you could. Why? You should
But
do
that's
that.
a brilliant. I love that idea.
I think that's a
I'm gonna-
wonderful idea.
I think if you can gender bend Shakespeare, which people have been doing
Right.
all the time, you can generation bend. So
Ooh.
I'm going to play
There
Juliet.
you go. There's
That's
a little
good.
tagline.
Somebody write that down.
Oh, and we should say,
Yeah.
speaking of Shakespeare, Debba is always acting in Shakespeare plays, and she's. I'm guessing that even though you didn't come back to acting until 5 years ago, that you always kind of read Shakespeare, or you liked him even
I
before.
memorized huge chunks back when I was in college, and I would recite them to myself in the intervening decades, and so that I would never lose them because I loved them so much.
So did you just feel a connection to that type of the writing? What was it about Shakespeare that made you want?
The truth is, when I was 13 years old, I saw Romeo and Juliet by Franco Zeffirelli.
Oh yeah.
And at the
Great
time, I bore a very strong resemblance to Olivia Hussey. So talk about representation matters.
Yes.
There I am.
Yeah.
And it was this incredibly romantic, and
great one.
she's beautiful and he was gorgeous, and it was
Yeah.
all the costumes
The
were
music.
spectacular. Yes. all together. And I was like, I'm just in love. So that started my love affair with Shakespeare.
Really?
Wow.
Yep.
And then, okay, so I will tell you that I don't really love. I love watching. I've obviously loved reading the plays like we all do in school, but acting is not a great connection for me. So how did you because that's the thing, like the iambic pentameter. Am I saying that correctly? Like you have to have that certain but then it sounds like a flow if you can master it, right? Like
well, there's part of that, but there's different schools of thought. There's a whole school of thought that are very attached to the meter. The iambic pentameter that you're talking about. And then there's another school of thought, which I subscribe to because of my teacher, whom I adore, who is Armin Shimmerman, by the way, and he teaches at Antioch. And I train with him, and his belief is, which has always been my belief even before I heard him articulate it, is that as an actor, you are a performer. It is your job to entertain people and to reach out to them. And the way you do that is you have to be able to communicate, because if you can't communicate, your audience goes,
right.
So you have to understand what every single word in Shakespeare means so that you can say it in a way that communicates. And so when you study with Armin, he will drill you. What does that word mean? What does that word mean? If you don't know, you get sent to the Oxford English Dictionary to find out.
So you
really?
learn quick then, huh?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And when you watch somebody, like after I had studied with Armin for a while, I was in another class that was a camera acting class, and I would bring my Shakespeare monologues into that camera class. And I had people come up to me after the class and go, I've never understood a word of Shakespeare in my life, but I understood every word you said. I said, I wonder why that is.
So good
training.
Good teaching then. Huh?
No, it's intense training. It is, and like I've always admired the ones. That's a good point. The plays I've seen where it does sound more like they're communicating, and it's so natural.
Right.
Yes.
It doesn't sound so pompous.
Yes.
But I do feel that some people, and I was one of them, I'm sure, that got caught up in like, I have to do that rhythm thing, and then I was too more focused on that, the technicality of it, as opposed to the actual just communicating and knowing what I was talking about. Yeah,
because a lot of it
young.
is a lot
What did
of
I
it
know?
is. And Debba, you would know more of this, but a lot of Shakespeare to me is almost like pulpy soap operas. I mean,
pulpy soap operas and dick jokes. It's the truth. Shakespeare is a lot of very dirty jokes.
Yeah, there's a lot of it.
A lot of dirty jokes. Now, is Romeo and Juliet your favorite? Do you have a favorite? Is it? I mean,
well, I have to confess that I have not read the entire canon yet. There's still probably 10 plays I haven't read.
Okay.
But I think my absolute favorite is one that is not very well known, and it's called Coriolanus. And that one, I adore it. I love the politics of it. I love the language of it. I love just everything about it.
Is it like a lot of Shakespeare? Is it something that's very timeless that could
I'm
attribute
surprised
to today?
I'm surprised nobody's really doing it now.
Or?
Yes,
Really?
yes, absolutely. I'm surprised that people are not doing it now because it's so reflective of the dichotomy and the fights between the right and left in this country. It's exactly represented. But the way Shakespeare wrote it, he didn't apply his opinion on top of it. So it has been through the through the centuries as popular with the fascists as it has been popular with the liberals, because you can put whatever spin you want on it. The thing is that you have to have a spin and an opinion so that you don't get lost.
Right.
And you can tell the story with your bent on it.
With that lens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead of just, hi, it's my turn to talk and I'll say my lines now. You have to say them with an intention to communicate whatever it is you've decided your point of view is.
That sounds really good. I'm totally in on
We're learning,
this one.
everybody's learning out
So
there.
wait, tell everybody what the name of that one is.
It's Coriolanus.
Okay, we're gonna look this one up, and probably because it isn't as well known. Because I've not heard of that
battle.
one.
Is it more of a warrior?
It is a warrior thing.
Okay.
It takes place in the time of the Roman Republic. You can find Ralph Fiennes did a movie of it. You can find Ralph Fiennes' version.
He's good.
And then, if possible, and it's hard to find, but Thomas Hiddleston also played Coriolanus in one of those Dunbar warehouse things. It is. I thought it was magnificent. I think he's magnificent.
Wow.
So there's two, but you can I'm sure you can find Ralph Fiennes as Coriolanus very easily.
Listen to all this knowledge over here. This is great.
We're getting smarter on this show today.
Right?
Big time,
Because
I feel my
Shakespeare
brain cells
geek.
expanding. No, and we're talking theater. Theater is my heart,
Oh, yeah.
and theater. I could go on. We're gonna to have you back just to talk more about theater.
Just do it, yeah, a little
What about
theater
musical
spot.
theater? You in a musical theater or more just plays?
No, I did musical theater too.
Oh yeah, she's coming back. She's coming back on. We're gonna have best stuff. But I did want to say what I'd like to also see, and I hope that you do this goal of yours
I
because
love it.
I know that the idea of doing your own project is
Daunting.
Yes, like yeah, you see my last 2 years,
Yes,
but
dear.
man, the payoff and the feel of your own intellectual property, your baby, it's
Yes.
yours, and all that hard work
Yeah.
is worth it. And nobody has had an idea like that, so
I
I
love
really
it.
hope that you do it. And even better, I would love to see you as Juliet,
Right.
and I want to see like a 20-something-year-old as nurse. Like I want you
Oh,
to
the nurse.
flip that, and I want a young 20-something-year-old to be the nurse.
There you
yeah,
go. We can do that. Like, I was looking for a young 20-something for Romeo to be complete.
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
Oh, that too.
I thought you were
Oh,
going
sorry.
for Romeo with
Yeah,
that.
I
Well,
thought
it's
she was
just
going for
because
Romeo.
no, it's just because nurse
Both.
is such a great role.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know,
Nurse is a great role.
it's
Yeah.
so weird because when I actually do think of Romeo and Juliet, I think about nurse.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, which is that's an older, usually the older woman.
Right.
Yeah. So either way, yeah, do 20-something-year-olds all around you.
I
That's
want to
fine.
see this
That's
though.
fine. I do too.
It's a great
See,
idea.
that's why I
Keep us posted. We're gonna keep you accountable. You're gonna do it.
I
Yeah.
know, that's
Until
why
you
I
tell
keep,
us you're not.
that's
I
why
guess.
Well, I
I
like
keep
the
saying it
through-
in public to force myself to
better
actually
do
do
it.
this thing.
And I like
Art
the,
is life.
the through line of it because you were enamored with it at 13, and now here we're coming back to it. So
Yep.
I like that.
Well, y'all, I
circle.
do believe we're out of time, and this felt like it was 5
No.
minutes. Debba, you are incredible.
Thank you.
And I'm not just saying that. Like we are grateful to have you as part of our family, and we appreciate your knowledge, your energy. I love that you're from New York. I'm biased, I guess. Yeah.
A pro's
But
pro.
She's just a real. Oh, she's got that guys New York edge. I love it. So we obviously will have you back. And we,
Thank you.
by the way, you are one of the ones out of everybody, our casting crew. You have been supporting us this entire time.
Absolutely.
And so much is to be said for someone who will do that because you didn't even know where we're headed with that, and you
No,
were
that's been
always
amazing.
communicating with us and supporting, liking, sharing, all that.
Absolutely.
And that our show greatly depends on that. So we appreciate you. There's
Thank
no
you.
words that can even you can feel this.
Yes,
okay.
I can.
Shakespeare
So
sonnet.
everybody, tell everybody where they can follow you on social media.
Oh, you can follow me at Debba Rofhart, DebbaRofheart on Facebook, and at Debba Rofhart on Instagram, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And Twitter?
I
Twitter?
don't-
We got Twitter?
I don't
Snapchat?
do Twitter.
Yeah? Oh,
Twitter
okay.
makes me crazy. I don't do Twitter.
That's okay.
That's fine.
We got her, and we're gonna tag her. Fat TV World. You'll see her, and you're gonna love her. And I think that's about it. We do miss KT though, so KT, we love you. Hopefully we'll
Right.
see
KT.
you soon.
It's not the same without KT.
It's not the same
No.
without
You're right.
KT.
You're all right.
We
Yeah,
still
yeah,
love
thank
you,
you,
Matt,
thank you.
but it's not the same without KT.
No, I know,
Yeah.
I know. I pinch hitting,
But I'm glad we had a great guest today.
Thank you
okay.
so much.
But thanks for joining us, everybody. We love you, and we will see you soon. Stay with us to the journey. See you later. Bye.